What is up, man? Welcome back to another exciting video cast here in the Nogi Bear videocast studio. I am Eric Sperrazza, and you are with none other than Nogi Bear himself, Keith Egan.
Yep.
We got a special guest on the phone today, a man that needs no introduction. If you've been involved in MMA in any way, shape, or form in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, the surrounding area in the last few years, you know James Jefferson, a.k.a. JJ Jefferson. He has made a name for himself not only through his television show online, but the MMA Sports Extreme Expo, Global Proving Ground. He's done everything from post-fight interviews to his shows to tournaments. And we have him on the phone now. JJ, say hello to the fans of the Nogi Bear Grappling League's videocast.
Well, I'm so happy to be here. It's an honor for me to be on a show that's supporting the fighters and the grapplers around the country.
Respect.
And I'm looking forward to letting you guys know what we're up to and how we can help any athletes out.
So, you and I know each other. We go back a few years. For those of you that don't know my backstory, I have only been training Jiu-Jitsu now for the last 3 years. That's how I met most of the folks that we come in contact with on this show. The first person I came into contact with in the MMA world was you. Do you remember that? Do you remember me bumping into you in a Wawa in 2011?
Yeah, I saw your son wearing a tap-out shirt. Wasn't it a tap-out shirt or
right.
in the Wawa?
That's right. 3 years ago, I was walking in a Wawa with my 8-year-old, then a 5-year-old. He was wearing a tiny tap-out shirt. And this big, hulking man that looked like a vaudevillian strongman, all he was missing was the cheetah onesie, came up to me with the handlebar mustache and says, "Do you train MMA?" And I said, I don't know what the right answer is here. I'm frightened for my life. I looked at my son and I'm like, listen, run to the car and call mommy right now.
Call mommy.
But he gives me his business card and says, here, watch my show. So I go home and I tune onto this website and I see the same hulking man with the handlebar mustache. Again, only missing a cheetah onesie to be the strong man from the cartoons. And there he was talking about MMA and giving play-by-plays on amateur fights locally in the area and introducing new products. So that's our backstory. So I had gone down to your training studio a couple times. I had taken part in your MMA Expo back in 2011, and I've known you since. So now that we've kind of come full circle here, I've been training for a little while, and I'm part of this video cast now with Keith Egan. Why don't you use this as a platform to talk about, you have a Renzo Gracie Classic Tournament you're running with Master Renzo Gracie, and we kind of feel some type of way about that. We both train at a Team Renzo Gracie school at South Jersey Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so it's kind of a special place in me and Keith's heart. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, first I'll let people know a little bit about my background just so they know that I'm not just some hoo-ha for the show. I did wrestle Division I at East Stroudsburg University back in 1985, 86, 87. And I did fight in the Golden Gloves. This is all before UFC ever existed, so I was doing kind of a mixed martial arts deal myself before even one of our other partners, Dan Severin, started doing it. So I've been punched, I've been choked, I've been in both ends of all that crap, so I know what everyone out there goes through. And, it's all fun and games when someone gets punched in the face. So,
It is all fun and games until someone gets punched in the face. That's a true statement, sir.
But, you kind of, either you're a fighter or you're not. So, very lucky that we formulated this company 18 months ago. Actually, 18 months ago this week, Global Proving Ground, with the ownership of, Renzo Gracie, Helson Gracie, Ron Van Cleef, Dan Severin, et cetera, some of the legends in the sport and some of the original fathers of the UFC. And obviously some of the greatest Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners and professors in the world. And it was a natural segue within our company that we operate and do a lot of content and events in the combat world. And I sat with Renzo, and about 6 months ago we discussed, Renzo, I said, we're doing all these tournaments, and Nika does a great job running your events at the MMA World Expo, and then they did one over at the Madison Square Garden. And obviously, he's involved over at, in Abu Dhabi and everything that he does. And he said, yeah, why not? So we talked to Nika up at the Brooklyn School, and Renzo gave us his blessing in Portuguese. And we put together the Renzo Gracie Classic International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Tournament which will be Sunday, January 26th at the Tropicana Casino, which is part of a bigger event, which is the Action Martial Arts Hall of Honors. It's actually the largest martial arts dinner and event in the world. It's 15th year, I believe. And it's awesome. It's going to be, the best of the best. Everyone's welcome from white belt to black belt. We'll have, absolute. We'll have teams. It's going to be 6 mats going inside and around some of the greatest masters of all martial arts from around the world, probably 30 countries, everything from Brazil to Russia to England. You're going to have teams from Trinidad. It'll be a great place. If you're part of the Amateur or Pro Grappler League, you want to come out and represent that amazing league, because that is a South Jersey strong league. They should be out there part of this. It's going to be great to have you guys there doing some, I guess either a live or a post-edit feed of the event, which would be great.
Part of that, actually. We're
definitely showing up in full force.
Yeah, the Master Golberg is going to give you guys your own area to do setup, promote the show, and also to have people come on and get interviewed. So you can probably grab Renzo. Now I'm trying right now. I've been talking to Healthy.
I don't want to grab Renzo. That's dangerous.
What happened to the last guy that grabbed him in New York?
Nah, I'll give you a hug and a big
in
smile.
New York was told this is what death feels like.
He'll give you a big hug and a smile. Unless you're on the mat, you're good. And we're trying to get Helson to come out. I talked to his daughter yesterday. There may be an opportunity. I mean, it's not confirmed yet. But if we can get Helson out, that'd be great, because Helson is the highest-ranked Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu belt holder in the world ever. He just got, I guess, his next level of red belt in Hawaii a few months back, and there was a big ceremony out there. So to get Helson out would be along with Renzo, would be just cathartic, I guess. But yeah, this is going to be an amazing event. It's going to be the first year, but, it is Renzo and Nika, and they've been running some pretty popular events for a while now. So I imagine, Renzo did do a mailing to all his schools. Helson will do a mailing to all his schools, which includes some really good schools locally. You have Balance with Phil and Ricardo Migleris. I talked to both Phil and Rick. They'll be sending some athletes. I talked to your professor on Facebook. He's excited about sending some athletes over as well. So it's going to be pretty awesome. I mean, we'll put the link up on the Nogi Bear site so people can register right there. We could probably even give some kind of a discount for all of your followers. Every person that registers, you get a T-shirt. There'll be nice Olympic-style awards. And you'll also get full access for the 3 days to the Action Martial Arts Hall of Honors with your registration fee. So you can go to all the seminars. There'll be 100-and-something booths. A lot of celebrities. If you remember the movie Best of the Best, Mr. Eric Roberts will be there, which would be pretty cool.
No, Tommy. No.
Yeah.
Tommy, no.
Charlie, they cut my thumb off, Charlie.
That's how you what. If there was ever a movie from the 80s that is the complete package of every martial arts movie from the 80s, it would have to be Best of the Best. But moreover, it was probably Chris Penn's finest moment in movies. I mean, that would. I mean, Reservoir Dogs was a clutch role, but it was more of a cameo than it was like a starring role.
Who was he, Mr. Blonde?
He wasn't Mr. Anything. Chris Penn. Chris Penn was.
He was
the son of
Nice Guy Eddie.
He was Nice Guy Eddie. That's right. Nice Guy Eddie. That's right.
That was my favorite.
If you beat that man long enough, he'll tell you he started the Chicago fires. That doesn't necessarily make it so.
That is correct.
Good stuff, man. So, we're excited to be part of it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, what we want to do is, there's a lot of other martial arts will be at the event for many years. You have all, Jose Torres has his karate tournament, taekwondo tournament. Friday night is Ring of Combat. Lou Neglia, Global Proving Ground, have some fighters on that card. It's an amazing weekend of martial arts, so we need to have a big turnout of fantastic grapplers in their gis, representing their teams, to show the world of martial arts, and literally the world of martial arts, that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is strong, powerful here in New Jersey. And as you can see with all the great events, I mean, when I went to one of the Pro Grappler events last year with K-Dojo and one of our fighters, I was just amazed at how many local fans packed that arena.
I mean, we're talking about that was PGL in April?
PGL 4?
Yeah,
PGL 4?
yeah, Rustam, the one that Rustam won. It was what a phenomenal event.
That was the infamous slide down the legs into full mount. That was that was.
That was a good one. That was a busy night.
I've tried to pull that move off since I saw it, and I've yet to be able to do it with the ease that he did that. Now listen, that's awesome. You know, I know that you've been a fan, and you know Keith doesn't know you the way I know you. I know you've been a fan of all martial arts for a while. You know, when you run expos, it's not just about MMA. You've got kung fu demonstrations. You've got guys doing weapons. Like katas on display. Can you tell me? You know, there's a lot of. I was just talking to two lady fighters that I know recently about the argument, Joe Rogan's argument with, kung fu and a lot of these more elaborate martial arts that are very good they work in theory that, in this beautiful movement of my body, in this beautiful demonstration of art, in theory, if a person did this, I could conceivably do X, Y, or Z. It's very much demonstration. It's very much display. Not a whole lot of sparring do you ever see in Kung Fu, in Wing Chun. It's more of an art form. It's more of like, this maneuver that I'm demonstrating is very beautiful and very elegant, and it would work in the event that someone did this. But it doesn't really play in the world of MMA.
Well, don't confuse Wing Chun with corner store karate locations in strip malls.
So tell me about
traditional martial arts. If you have it to the root of like Wing Chun Kung Fu, or you have some forms of Taekwondo, real martial arts. I mean, you'll kill somebody, and you can fight 2 or 3 people at a time. But but the problem is the epidemic in the United States, especially, is you have a lot of schools that have opened up in strip malls that are just having parents pay to get black belts and do pretty katas. They're not real fighters.
Anyone's off the top of your head?
No,
Are there any schools on the top of your head right now that you would like to say?
Nah, I mean,
we have a very open policy.
They know who they are. No, they know who they are. And you know what? To be honest, Tiger Schulman was that way years ago. But since they made a very dedicated move to martial arts and mixed martial arts, they now train real mixed martial arts at Tiger Schulman. And some of their athletes have actually won a lot of Ring of Combat fights.
Who was the UFC fighter? Uriah Hall?
Uriah Hall just recently won his first big UFC fight. Yeah, he didn't even win Ultimate Fighter. He's a product of Tiger Schulman's.
He put Chris.
Right. So, I mean, there was the epidemic is starting to switch back again. Bruce Lee was the first mixed martial artist by far. And, in fact, there's a documentary right now on, I believe it's the History Channel, or it may be another channel, but it's called Bruce Lee, How He Changed the World. And he changed the world in many different ways. But the first way he changed the world was he bucked the system. His first form was Wing Chun, through Yip Man. And then he started to change it. He started to add in Western boxing, started to add in grappling. He actually did the first arm bars with Bruce Lee on camera in a tournament. He literally was the first mixed martial artist. Real martial artists will kill you. A real martial artist most likely, in most cases, will destroy a mixed martial artist. And the reason is because they are trained to kill, not to... Now, remember, mixed martial arts is a sport. Real martial arts is to defend your life and to kill somebody.
I'm aching this back to, I heard a podcast with Joe Rogan, I want to say about 6 months or so ago, where he was saying that, when on YouTube, there's plenty of kung fu guys, may not necessarily not Wing Chun, but kung fu guys, and that say like, to prove that kung fu works out on the streets, they would have like these sparring matches in playgrounds and stuff and film them on YouTube. And then primarily it starts off very elegant, very, very art-like, very beautiful looking. But at the end of the day, when push comes to shove and things get hot, they're swinging fists and doing takedowns, and it just becomes what it is. It becomes more like an MMA fight. Like how do you think there's a reason why you haven't seen a big influx of kung fu, Wing Chun kung fu, Shotokan, these types of arts?
Well, the reason the answer is right there in what Bruce Lee said. Bruce Lee said that every fight ends up on the ground or anywhere, and that's why he changed his forms and started to integrate many different forms into what ended up into his own style. And when he did that, he started to really destroy people in tournaments. And there are, Ben Saunders is, he completely studied the full forms of Bruce Lee, and he's done very well in Bellator. So, I mean, there is remnants of Kung Fu and Taekwondo and different forms within that. But mixed martial arts is the truest way to fight. I mean, if you're you never know where it's gonna end up. You better be ready to fight.
It's funny because I love seeing how schools now capitalize on the money machine that is MMA. Where schools weren't MMA driven before. I spoke to a guy that trains at an Aikido school. I'm not going to say which one because I don't want those guys pissed off. But they train something called MMA Keto, where they show this is true. They show you how Aikido can be used in the world of mixed martial arts. But I kind of find that's a bit of an oxymoron. I have an uncle that's trained Aikido for over a decade. From the original school, the original dojo in New York City when they first brought the art over in the 70s, all the way through Long Island Aikido, out to Utah Aikido. And as much as I know about Aikido, and it's not a lot, but I know enough to know that it's a defensive sport, not an offensive sport. To advertise MMA Aikido is to say you can go and compete in the world of MMA using Aikido, which is a paradox because Aikido is only a defensive sport.
Oxymoron.
No, I understand. And look at Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey is a judo expert. She is an expert in a form of martial arts, which is judo.
We're going to get back. We're going to get back to Ronda in a minute, but I'm going to ask you something. A few years ago, we had done an interview with Master Alan Golberg, and he basically told me that he despises MMA. Now, I don't know if has his theory or thoughts changed on it.
Well, just to let you know, Master Golberg actually held the first mixed martial arts event in New Jersey with Nick Lamba.
Okay.
So he may have just said that because of some of his experiences, but he fully supports mixed martial arts. In fact, he sits on the board of directors for Global Proving Ground, along with some other leaders like Brian Crenshaw, the president of the WKA. So I mean, there's sometimes people say things that they don't mean all the time. So at that time, he may have just been in a bad mood, but he's a bad dude, man. Master Golberg is not a dude you want to mess with. That's a Streets of Brooklyn guy. And that goes back to when you say, you get to a fight and someone looks pretty, they end up in a fight. Yeah, as it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight of the dog. When it ends up go time, sometimes just the badder person is going to win no matter how good the other person's form is.
That's what I tell myself every time I step on the mats in a tournament. It's not the size of the dog, it's the size of the fight and the dog. Doesn't always work out in my favor per se, but it is what it is. You've mentioned Global Proving Ground a couple times. You've mentioned some names that are a part of it: David Severn, Renzo Gracie, Elson Gracie, Alan Golberg. If you could explain to the 997 proud YouTube channel followers that we have, plus my friend Keith here, what exactly is Global Proving Ground? I know at one point you guys were part of a reality show called Warrior Island. I know that you have affiliations with different MMA promotions internationally. My knowledge of it stops there. Why don't you fill in the blanks for me?
Well, it has evolved over the years. When it first, over the last year and a half, when it started, what we wanted to do was start to help the fighters around the world by creating a family, a business opportunity for them to develop a career. Because we felt that what happened was fighters would build a career, somehow get to the UFC, be used up there, and then spit out, and then what did they do? So we wanted to help develop great careers. So we developed Global Proving Ground. Now, if you think of Global Proving Ground, think of the NFL. If you think of the promotions that we work with, think of the teams that are in the NFL. Global Proving Ground is a licensing, branding, and marketing company that helps regional promotions like the UCMMA in London, like show fights in Portugal. We're now working with David Feldman and XFB. We work with Victorium in Virginia. We work with Tommy Tran's Midwest Ultimate Cage Fights out in Missouri. What we do is we work with an existing regional promotion and help them increase their television production, their fighters, their fights, their referees, their judge, everything. We work with the commissions. We get better gloves, better cages. I mean, everything that could possibly do to make it better, just like the NFL does for its teams. Global Proving Ground helps its partners and promotions. We felt there was so many promotions out there that thought they were going to be the next UFC, which they're not. There's so many promotions out there that think they're going to make millions of dollars, which they're not. But what we're going to do is instead of competing with them, let's help them. Let's make it a better experience.
Global Proving Ground is a union you're creating for the amateur and minor league pro MMA world internationally.
It's for anything in the combat sports. It's any promotion, whether it be MMA, boxing, grappling, anyone that wants help, increasing the quality of their brand, their product, their fighters, having better fighters, having their fans have a better experience, having better TV production. So that's what we do.
It's unionizing, and sharing, increasing benefits, increasing work conditions, and post-fight careers and things of that nature. It's basically it's unionizing
everything.
Sport.
Everything that, if we can help anybody, we'll do it.
Now, obviously, you're not UNICEF. What is this costing?
The expenses come out of either ticket sales or sponsors or investors. You did mention Warrior Island earlier. Warrior Island conceptually has only been around for 1 year. It's right now in the hands of HBO. We've met twice with HBO in New York City, and they're looking at taking over the whole project. Hopefully they will. We should hear some word from them in the next 2 weeks. That's an exciting project. And Warrior Island is basically blood sport meets Survivor. Old school, open pit, no rules. Docu-series.
No rules, you said.
Yeah, no eye gouging, obviously. But, not universal mixed martial arts. It's not going to be a regulated fight. It's more Hollywood. It's actually, like I said, blood sport meets Survivor. And it'll be for the fans. It'll be docu-series like NFL Hard Knocks, Pacquiao, Mayweather 24/7, following the fighters at their homes as they travel to the island. Then the training on the island with all the martial arts masters. And it's already all cast, all the production teams, all the cast, all the scripting, the locations, everything's done. It just needs to be picked up by either HBO or Spike, and we're working with them now. So it's getting close. It's only been a year, so people that are impatient, deal with it.
So are you saying that the fighting that you're going to see on Warrior Island, when and if it gets picked up, is more of a Vale Tudo style than it is watching, UFC or old Strikeforce videos?
Exactly. It's going to be best of the best. It's going to be blood sports. It's going to be open pit, fire, masters. It's going to be someone's in a gi, someone's not. It's going to be awesome stuff.
What? Now, you being the study of MMA, I'm good for the commentary and the WWF quotes, but you, sir, are the grand wizard of MMA knowledge. What are your thoughts on this, Keith?
Would it be? Is there sanctioning bodies, or how would that work?
Absolutely not. It's going to be filmed as in Hollywood. It's going to be for the fans. It's going to be entertainment. It's not a tournament where people are going to. It's not going to be a tournament like Bellator. It's going to be an actual Hollywood production.
So it's going to be like WWE style.
No, it's a real fight. There'll be people with broken faces. There may be some broken legs like Anderson, but there will be. It's a real fight.
That was probably the nastiest broken leg I've ever seen in my entire. That is my biggest fear in the whole world. As much as I love jiu-jitsu, I also love running, and my worst fear in the world is something like that happening where I can do neither. By the way, just FYI.
So far, who do you have signed on for the Warrior Island to actually to engage in something along the lines of that?
Say that one more time.
Who do you have, like, fighter-wise, to engage in something like that?
The first cast of 16 fighters and 4 alternate videos are right on the Global Proving Ground video. You can go watch Neil Glass, who's on there, James McSweeney. There's 3 or 4 tough guys from the tough series that are on there, but then there's some new guys. One of our signed fighters is one of the fastest rising fighters in the world, and his name is Shamir Bam Bam Garcia out of Detroit. He's 5-0 as a pro MMA fighter with 4 first-round knockouts, and he just did a third-round guillotine choke after beating the guy to a bloody pulp. He's going to be in the UFC within a year. That's how good this light heavyweight is. And he was a Muay Thai champion with like 15 belts beforehand. He's going to be on the island. We have Alexander Kestov from the Russian combatives. He's on the Russian combative team. He's won it the last 2 years. He's a 125-pound maniac. He's actually going to be fighting on Reality Fights this Saturday night up in Malik and Son. So we have.
Do you get your hand in a type of like a management position, or how does it work?
We own a management company, and right now we have about 3.5 dozen fighters under contract fighting in 27 countries. When we manage them, we get our fee. When they fight on other people's cards, when they fight on our cards, we do not take a fee to be Atco. But we help them build a career by building a social networking, a branding, T-shirts, website, logo, walkout music. We also own a music publishing company. We produce the music for the fighters' walkout. So all the fights that we produce, we own the music, so there's no royalties to pay out. But it's very dynamic. We have it all available at globalprovingground.com. You can learn all about the ownership and what we do. And it's for you, the fans, and you, the fighters. It's not about us. It's about you.
So when a fighter gets involved in Global Proving Ground, you're going to give them their own unique entrance music, their own help with shirts and marketing and getting them into fights and things of that nature. And they pay what, like a union due to you guys, and of course the promotion has.
No, they would just pay a standard 50. They just pay a standard 15 to 20% fee based on total gross income that they make that we negotiate for them, whether it be sponsors or fights. But not if they fight for us. If they end up on one of our cards, we don't take that fee. We just let them keep their purse. We negotiate their travel, everything they have to do. We have a legal team, we have an accounting team, we have a branding team. I mean, if you go to the website, globalprovingground.com, you can really get a lot of information about who we are and what we do. And we don't take money from anybody unless they're making money from what we're doing. It wouldn't be ethical.
Are you still training people as well? Like, I remember back in the day you were training individuals personally. Now, are you just involved?
Yeah, I have amateur fighters here at the Woodshed, and the Woodshed's growing here in Medford, New Jersey. I take the amateurs. I do a lot of the striking. My background in boxing and Muay Thai, I do some striking. But as soon as they're ready to move to another level, I either send them to Renzo Gracie School, or I'll send them over to Derek over at Strike Zone for Muay Thai training. I know my limitations. I'm decent. I can get a good base for people, but then I move on to the experts. And I'll help them, get a good career path. But as far as, the real coaches, which are the experienced ones that have a real long track record of getting fighters to the UFC or to high levels of Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu, that's where I want to funnel the fighters after I get them started. I mean, I want to start with them early because I want to explain to them about, if you're going to be a professional, you need to act like a professional. You need to hold yourself a certain way, act a certain way, make sure you do things with contracts, have lawyers check your contracts. Make sure you're doing branding. Don't get on social networks and start acting like an idiot. You're representing your school, your master, you're representing your family, and you need to do things. So I'd like to get the amateurs and start that with them, and then when they move on to and they're working to go on to the higher level coaches, we do that.
Is there any fighters from the Woodshed gym that you have that we should be looking out for? Any kind of amateur fighters that are out there right now down in Atlantic City or PA or New York that are tearing it up?
Yeah, the two fighters that we have fighting right now out of the Woodshed is Wade the Warhorse Barosta, who just lost a split decision up at the New York Fight Exchange for Tom Sconzo up in Jamaica, New York, Queens. He's going to be fighting again this March up in Jamaica, Queens. He's a heavyweight, 6'5", 4.5, 6'5", 205-pound striker. Background in traditional martial arts, but he also trains over at Vacante Jiu-Jitsu.
So, you were saying that you don't necessarily train them. You said that you send them to Renzo's school.
I train them, get them to a point where I know they're going to go into the league, and then I get them to the next level of professionals. Like I get them to one of the black belt jiu-jitsu guys, whether it's at Renzo's or in a Helsing school or Balance or Ricardo Almeida schools are great around the area, or I get them over to Derek at Strike Zone for the Muay Thai. I want them to get the best training possible because once I'm their manager, I'm going to get them even better training than I can give them because I want them to make as much money as possible.
Now, wasn't Dave Clemens the resident and jiu-jitsu coach at your place? Is he still?
Yeah, Dave teaches here, but most of what he teaches here are the kids. Right now, we don't have adult classes for jiu-jitsu here. We've got the kids classes. So he teaches. Dave's awesome. He cracks me up, Uncle Dave. He teaches the 60, 12-year-old kids here right now. We don't have a lot of room at the Woodshed for the bigger guys. So he's just working with the kids here right now. But he's a character.
He's a two-time PGL fighter. One-time, two-time, two-time PGL fighter. Dave Clemens.
Yeah. Yep, it was good. He's good. So let's let's get off topic a moment. Let's back up to the previous UFC. I think it was it UFC 168.
168. My gosh, that was a lot of fun. I got a chance to. I never really go out for the fights. I usually have people in. I don't know what you do for the fights. You ever go out for them?
Yeah, we went out. We were out this time.
I went out to Miller's Ale House, which is the first time I was there. And I was
Nice.
with a bunch of SJBJJ guys. I was there with a bunch of Kenny Brock guys. It was a nice mix of people there. And I got to tell you, I'm a huge Ronda Rousey fan. And for a lot of different reasons than, some people, think that she's just beautiful and that's why they get behind her, or they're big with judo and that they get behind her. I have 3 daughters, and I've been defending Ronda Rousey for the last few weeks now. A lot of the girls that I know don't like her because she's a mean girl. She's not nice to Miesha Tate, whatever the case may be. You know what? When you have a kid, one kid. I mean, I have 3 daughters. If one of them, were to open up the kind of doors that Ronda Rousey opened up for female fighters. I mean, an Olympic medalist went on to an undefeated MMA career. Marketing, branding. They had a whole division in UFC, built around her. Movies. She mainstreamed female mixed martial arts the way no one else could have. And that includes when Miesha Tate had that Strikeforce belt. No one was running to give Miesha Tate movie deals. No one was running to open up a division around Miesha Tate. That all came from Ronda Rousey. That came from her savvy, her ability to play up emotion into a fight. And let me tell you something. I'm a big fan of pro wrestling. And I'm a fan of pro wrestling because I think, as a kid, and we talked about this last time, we grew up watching, Superfly Jimmy Snuka and the Road Warriors. And, but what WWE and TNA and WCW and all these other companies, what they figured out is maybe it's not so much about the fighting to sell tickets as it is to sell emotion. Now, what UFC is doing is selling the fighting. What guys like Chael Sonnen and women like Rowdy Ronda Rousey is doing is bringing emotion back to that fight. And I find it of no little tiny bit of irony that Ric Flair and Ronda Rousey were both quoted saying the same thing at 2 different times in their careers. It's just more fun playing the heel. She's playing the bad guy. She's selling emotion, just like Chael Sonnen, just like Nick Diaz. She's selling emotion for the fight. And at the end of the day, as a guy, when I watch a guy fighter, I don't care if that guy is nice. I don't care if he's mean. I don't care if he doesn't buy Girl Scout cookies. If that fighter's a bad fighter, then guess what? That's the fighter that I want to see. I want to see a great fighter. And that chick is a great fighter, Ronda Rousey. And for all the folks out there that I've been talking to this week about, oh, she's mean, I don't care. She's a great fighter. She's a different caliber of athlete. And I'd be proud of any one of my daughters if they were able to open up the kind of windows and doors for other women the way Ronda Rousey has. So that was a big night for me. Jefferson, what is your take on that?
Well, I mean, I can respect her meanness. I mean, if you're not mean, it's tough to fight. I mean, not many really nice, happy-go-lucky people are great fighters. You have to be kind of mean. It is a fight. I'm a little perturbed that she didn't at least show some general respect at the end of the fight to the other opponent, no matter who that opponent is. I think there needs to be some respect shown. The fans of America could learn a lot from the fans of Japan. And that's something that Global Proving Ground has in its code of ethics. If that would have happened in Global Proving Ground, Ronda Rousey would have not have received her purse.
Yikes.
She would have been docked her entire pay. Because we have an anti-bullying child safety program, and we're teaching children to be respectful and honorable and have the true spirit of martial arts. I think she's a great fighter. I think she doesn't have any respect for the sport or herself by the way she behaves. That being said, if she wants to go to the WWE, she can. She can make as much money as she wants. As far as talented fighter, I think Chris Cyborg would crush her face, but she'd be out cold in about 30 seconds.
Wow,
and that's just...
No, that was the thing I was going to bring up was the... Now,
and I personally know Chris. I know Chris personally, and I talk to her on a daily basis. And Chris would love to beat her up in the parking lot and crush her face, and she would.
Have you ever?
It wouldn't be close. It'd be the fastest fight in UFC history.
Yeah. Have you ever trained with Cyborg?
I've been kicked in the head by Chris Cyborg, and I don't want to have it happening.
Uh-huh. Well, I think that Ronda Rousey really came into play when Cyborg tested when she tested hot. I think that pretty much opened the doorway up for that.
I think they should give all the girls in UFC steroids and let them have at it.
That's a bold statement right there.
As long as they bow.
Does that go for any for Warrior Island as well? Can they get all prided up?
You know, when you open up a whole can of worms about performance-enhancing drugs, my point is this: if these are all athletes in whatever sport they're in, whether it be the NFL, whether it be boxing, MMA, baseball, what have you, if they're paid to entertain the fans and there's millions and hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, I say why not have doctors work with all the athletes and in a safe way, give them whatever they need to stay healthy, to stay strong, and to recover. I don't want any beasts out there that are going to hurt anybody and go Hulk on them because they've taken ridiculous amounts of steroids. But if there's pharmaceutical grade things out there that can be safely monitored by doctors and everyone has a fair playing field and it's going to keep people healthy and it's their livelihood, I say go at it. You haven't heard that before, have you?
I think there's something to be said about it. And, I came from a family of baseball fans. My uncles, my grandparents, huge baseball fans. And I think that, you have a guy like Roger Maris that had to kill himself physically, mentally, emotionally to hit 61 home runs in one season. And then you have a guy that's all hopped up on the juice, knocking him out of the park, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, Mark McGwire. He was America's sweetheart when he destroyed Roger Maris's record. He went up in those stands. He kissed Roger Maris's wife. He hugged Roger Maris's children. And the fact is that he did it unnaturally. He did it man-made like the Incredible Hulk. I have no respect for that. You have your opinion on it. I think that...
No, I agree. I agree with that opinion. I mean, I think there should be a separation.
Listen, Mark McGwire could probably wipe up the floor with me. I'm not saying that I want to call out Mark McGwire.
But what he did was unfair. I agree. What he did was unfair because the other players didn't.
The fact is that he took performance-enhancing drugs that made him hit a ball with a bat stronger than the average bear. And, there's a reason why it took so many years for Roger Maris's record to be broken. It's because it takes a certain caliber of gumption, conviction.
It's because the other stadiums don't have that short right porch.
You have Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth, hit 60. He was playing less games in the season. He was playing at smaller parks. That was the reason why there was the asterisk to begin with. That Roger Maris did it in a longer season. Well, you know what? Mark McGwire had no excuse. Sammy Sosa, they were all jacked up on the funny juice. And you know what? More and more people in sports are these days. Hey, listen, I'm a big Chael Sonnen fan. I like his marketing. I like his fighting. I respect his business savvy, his ability to create and sell emotion. But the fact is that even he was tinkering with it for a little while. I mean, he could say, listen, my testosterone levels are low. Whatever you want to tell yourself. If you're in a sport and you're on the funny juice and somebody else isn't, then you definitively have an advantage. And I don't agree with. At the end of the day, it's tough to lift. You know that. You're a bodybuilder. It's tough to lift. It's tough to get up at 5 in the morning and lift. It's tough to run 6 miles in cardio. It's tough to eat clean. It's tough to cut weight and sweat it out. It's tough to train every day when you're sore and tired. But that's the mark of a champion. It's not about getting up and shooting a needle in your behind and then going in there and acting like you did something more phenomenal than the person that wasn't. I mean, that's me. It's just
that's why I say if you had a fair playing field and it was all monitored and it was all just to keep them healthy and to keep them recovering, not to make them behemoth, but actually so they can just perform at their normal level.
Did anybody think it was fair when Ivan Drago was fighting Rocky? Nobody thought that was fair.
I tell you what, man, they blatantly showed
I was cheering for
Drago.
Nobody thought that was fair.
He was on the treadmill. He was running with the pads on his chest, on his head. They were shooting the needle in his thigh. You watched the little meter go up as he was doing the curls. Rocky had a log and some snow they gave him.
Right. All you have to do is use a bag of. All you need is a rope and bag of rocks to the corner. You can beat Drago.
So James, are we going to see you competing at this next the Renzo Gracie tournament? You going to put a game?
Oh yeah,
on?
I will. Yeah, I will be there, as well as Sadoshi Ron Van Cleef will be there.
Oh no, we need you to put a gi on. You got to do a couple matches.
Keith Egan is officially saying, I want a shot at James Jefferson on the mats.
What are we going to do?
Is this a PGL call-out? Is that what we're doing here?
Nah.
Are we saying Keith Egan, James Jefferson, PGL 7?
Well, what rules are we going by?
Warrior Island rules.
Warrior Island rules.
I do go.
We'll start
I do
off
go
with
by
spears
the. I go. just so you understand, before going on, I want to full disclosure. I do wear the Iron Sheik shorts, and I have the hidden object.
Oh, okay.
Well, then that's. I mean that. Well,
I got the razor blades in my wristbands.
you know that's who's gonna blade first. That's really the question. Who's gonna?
What's it called when they cut themselves?
It's called juicing. No, ironically enough, it's called juicing.
Oh, nice.
That's funny.
And what's funny is that term has transcended over. I mean, first it meant using steroids. Then it meant cutting yourself in a wrestling match, and then I just recently, this Christmas, I got a rocket. I got the bullet juicer, and I had an aunt that said, "Oh, well, do you juice?" And I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, I work at a gym. I don't juice at all. And she's like, "Well, no, with the fruits and the vegetables." And I'm like,
Unbelievable.
Juice is a whole new meaning now. So
That's unbelievable. We're looking forward to having you guys at the Tropicana. It's going to be an amazing weekend. Make sure that you're there for the whole weekend. You can get all the interviews, and promote everything all weekend. It's going to be.
Doubt. We're going to be broadcasting live there. People are going to be able to watch from the YouTube channel, from the Grappling League's site. It's going to be a good time. Now, before we let you go, we play a little game with all of our guests. All of our guests, meaning you're officially the second of our the video cast literally just started a couple of months ago. We're going to say a couple words to you, and I want you to give me the first word that comes to your head when we say what we say to you, all right?
This is a family show.
This is a family show.
This is a Nogi Bear show.
This is the Nogi Bear show.
We can do whatever we want.
Listen, if I told you that I'm in a room full of guitars, RoboCop toys, and shotguns, I am not even lying a little bit. So,
welcome to New Jersey.
Welcome to the Nogi Bear videocast studio. All right, so here we go. Are you ready? One word name association. Go. Ronda Rousey.
Judo.
Dan Severn.
The Beast.
Tank Abbott.
Huge.
Jim Miller.
Jersey Fresh.
Mankini.
Brain fart.
Fair enough. Last but not least, Nogi Bear PGL 7.
Amazing, fastest growing media outlet for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and grappling on the East Coast.
That big fight feel locally for submission grapplers only. Anyway,
I got one more quick little game I'm gonna play.
Let's get
it's
it.
called
Let's get
Who's Cuter?
Yeah, nicely done. This is a good one. I usually lose this one.
Donkey Kong or Mario?
Donkey Kong.
Misha Tate or Ronda Rousey?
Mario.
That's like asking if it's Julia Stiles or Tu Wong Fu. That's really
Mike Tyson or Evander Holyfield?
Oh, Mike Tyson.
Hands down.
Who do you got?
For who's cuter? Mm-hmm. I mean, listen, if I was in cell block D and
it's the voice. No, it's the voice.
And if I was doing life and I had no choice, I'm going with the guy that's not going to bite my ear off when he's mad. That's how it's going to go. I think Tyson's hysterical. If you haven't seen his new special on HBO, it's hysterical.
I think we're over our time limit.
We are over our time limit. James J.J. Jefferson, owner of Global Proving Ground.